Welcome to the Aaron Jack Show, here with Doing Good HQ. We're going to have Stefano Favaretto on here today with you, who's just an amazing human being, NFTs, curation, and community builder. So I'm so excited to have you here with us today on the Aaron Jack Show, and I'm Aaron Jack. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a wonderful day of NFTs and art. We're going to get Stefano here in 1 second. We are just going to send out those little DMs and all of that for those watching live or later on. We're going to be here with you, here with Doing Good HQ, where you as the artist get to also be a philanthropist with your art, your creations, and you just connecting with the world. So I think that's a really beautiful thing. So definitely go up and check them out. And we're going to be here with Stefano here in just 1 minute. So thank you so much for joining here today. I really appreciate you for being here and joining the beautiful day as we discover about NFTs, we discover about art, we understand just a little bit more as we all go on this journey together. So I'm just really happy as we go through this week by week. I feel like we discover just a little bit more, understand a little bit more of ourselves, and just be with this human experience. I think that's, at the end of the day, what we really have is the human experience and how we can share in that together, whether digital or physical. Here we are, Stefano, all the way from Italy. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome.
Hi, Aaron, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining. And I just want to ask you, what inspires you when you look at art and the creativity out there in the world?
Oh, that's really a good question. In a sense, more things are inspiring me watching art. The first thing is that art is giving me the feeling that they are is always connected to emotion. So when I'm watching something connected to art, I feel emotion, and that is a very important part to me, because I think art is one of these things in the world that can still make us emotional like a baby, I would say, And I really love beauty, the concept of beauty, in the sense that the Greek people were intending this in an aesthetical way, in the balance of the elements. So for me, art is connected to beauty, trying to give beauty to the world. That is a very important concept for me.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm curious, as we discuss beauty, what is beauty to you, and what allows you to better understand and fully experience beauty in this world?
For me, beauty is just not intended in an aesthetical way that you are beautiful outside. For me, is a deeper concept where you really can have a balance of elements inside yourself, going more deeper into yourself, thanks to the beauty that you are observing. A famous sculptor like Michelangelo was saying that beauty is the part that is connecting us more to God, because thanks to beauty we can near as much as possible to God. So because God is is the bigger expression probably of beauty. God, in the sense also nature, the creation. So the world is God for me. So beauty is connecting us also to the world and to nature, because it's the maximal expression of beauty, in my opinion.
Wow. So in that, there's this connection between emotion and beauty, it seems like, and what is that balance, and how do they play off of each other as you see the world?
I think beauty, art are much connected also to emotion, because we as human beings, we live of emotion. The emotions are the engines of the human beings. No, so connecting, watching something that is beautiful, we keep in touch with the deepest part of the human being, that are emotions. It can be sadness, it can be happiness, it can be surprise, it can be fear. They are all emotion. We cannot say that one emotion is more positive than the other. They are emotion, they are normal, and we have to live them. And beauty is able to activate this emotion and to let feel something inside us. We also know, Aaron, that there are many studies saying that art is activating different parts of our brains, no? For example, particular parts of our brains, and is also used as a therapy. Many people having mental problem are taken to the museums in order to activate particular part of the brains, creating emotion, stimulating emotion, like the endorphins. Stimulating endorphin like chocolate, like something nice, something good, no, for example. Or drugs. Fortunately, emotion are not like drugs, but are similar as concept.
Well, this is a really interesting thing with your background in psychology and how that relates to emotion and going through life. You know, life can be hard, and finding that balance between beauty and the difficulty, the sadness and happiness, the and then the more complicated emotional aspects of life. And how does that relate to this beauty and the human and the inner human?
Oh, very complicated question, but very interesting also. I worked as psychology and psychotherapist for about 17 years, every day, 8 hours a day. And it was a very important part of my life because I had the possibility to keep in touch real to the deepest part of the human being. No? Because when you have a person in front of you suffering, opening himself and talking about his own situation, you really keep in touch with a deep part. No? And I think that the concept of beauty, in this sense, helped me to let the people understand that it's possible to see to have another perspective of the same situation that brought this person to suffer. No, so introducing something, sometimes the concept of beauty, in the sense that it's still possible to have light in our life, to have the sun again. This is also a concept of beauty. It was possible to give hope again to people. So in this sense, the concept of beauty was very helpful in my professional kind of life. No?
So it almost seems like that sometimes we focus so much on the negative, and then beauty gives us a way to balance that and turn to a different side of ourselves.
Unfortunately, it's typical of the human beings to focus more on negative part of us, no? Because of course, if you are positive, you give that for granted that to be positive is normal. We as human being, we realize that we are not well when we are not well in the sense, no. So it's more difficult that we say, oh, how happy I am today. No, it's more easy that we say, today I don't feel well. No, so we have to feel some pain somewhere sometimes, because the body, in this sense, if you think, is also helping us to say that something is not working well inside. No, but as you say, it would be better as human being to focus on sometimes also on our happiness, what we have around, to remember us that is not everything bad in our lives, that we have a lot of positive things that normally we give that too much to granted, in my opinion. No? So in this sense, again, beauty is helping us to remember that life can also be nice around us, and not saying that everything is beautiful around us, but we should start learn again to recognize the beauty of our life. No?
Wow, that's so powerful, I think, to say, to recognize the beauty in our lives and around us. And you, I think just inside of this statement, and, to recognize the beauty, how do you feel like we can move forward from this, where we've been in such we're coming from an analog world and moving into the digital and the NFTs and all of this, but to recognize the beauty around us? How do you feel like that's transcending or could transcend our experience of these technological changes that are happening in and around our lives?
I think this new technology is giving us a lot of possibility in this sense, because me as an artist, I can add some value to what I'm going to create. So we know, for example, the NFT is a tool that we can use in order to create something unique connected to our art. And me as an artist, for example, if I know that I have now an instrument that is allowing me to create something special, something unique, because the NFT concretely is a kind of code that is associated to your file, creating something that the collectors can have as unique, maybe I can join more collectors, so more art of myself is going into the houses or into the computer or into the phones of the people. And if me as an artist, I have the concept using art also in order to create beauty and to give light to the world and to create a better world, in this sense, the technology is helping me a lot. This is one possibility, for example. Or let's just think about the use of the metaverse. In the metaverse, I can show my artwork in virtual museum forever. In the physical world of art, you have to go up to a gallery, to keep in contact to a gallery, to ask them to exhibit your art. With the metaverse, you can do that from your home, for example. No? So the blockchain and the metaverse and the virtual world, or also the NFT, is giving us a lot of possibilities, also connected to the use of beauty and to the spreading of light, of beauty, and of positive concepts. Of course, in the same way, people could use that in a negative way. I don't hope so, but it can happen.
I believe you're right in this. And I'm very curious as we delve deeper into these understandings. We're here in Mental Health Awareness Month, and you have some background in this. And how do you see this connection with Web3 beauty and mental health, and how people could utilize beauty and the art they create to help with the mental health related things that are happening out there in the world, since you've seen the connection between beauty and mental health?
Oh, I see a lot of connection between mental health awareness and the use of the Web3, or just of this kind of new technology. Because I'm just thinking now, for example, about all the spaces on Twitter or the spaces like this that are also connected to this new possibility that technology is offering us. No? I saw beautiful spaces connected to the mental health awareness month, where people are starting to talk more openly about these problems. No? And thanks to the technology, we can reach people all around the world in few minutes, like we are doing now, for example. I'm also opening everyday spaces on Clubhouse, on Twitter, where I have the possibility to keep in contact with a million of people, or thousands of people. As a psychologist and psychotherapist in my past, I could just reach one person in my studio, no? So it was also okay, but now thanks to the technology, we can reach more people, no? And this is also thanks to the Web3 and the technology, no? The Web3 is giving us back also the power on our dates, so people can control what they are creating more, no? And I see also Web3 more in the sense, in a metaphoric sense, where because for me the Web3 concept is more connected to the decentralized concept, where people are starting to become the manager of themselves, trying to be more independent, to create something autonomous. They don't need necessarily an intermediary like a gallery, a museum. And so they can start creating using their creativity, also in a positive way, for example, spreading out messages connected to the mental health awareness and reaching other people, thanks to the Web3. So I think technology is helping a lot in this sense.
I think this is really interesting with this idea of control over our own sense of well-being, really. how do you see this connecting people outside of the digital, or how do you see that connection between too much digital or too much, you know, or this balance between in person and online connective, what's creating connective human experiences or healthy human connection really within the space? Like, what's working? What do you think could be worked on, because you're such a community builder as well?
This is a very important question, in my opinion, because uh, technology is having, of course, some advantages, but on the other side, we have to use technology in a smart way and in a balanced way. Because if people are starting just staying in the metaverse and creating just virtual realities, that could also be dangerous because you don't enjoy the beauty of the real life, creating real connection. We know, for example, in the NFT spaces that many people, they don't have a face, they don't know a real name. No, you just interact with a voice without knowing who is the person behind this voice and this PFP. So I think we have, as you say, to find the right balance between the use of the virtual spaces and the reality. And in my personal journey into NFT, I realized that during the lockdown, of course, we were all more inside the metaverse, inside a virtual reality. Now I realize the importance to go back to normal life, also connected to the NFT, for example, where people have the possibility to meet, to create real connection, to show also their artwork physically as NFT, digital, but in a physical world. I think that is very, very important. In that sense, I'm happy that we had many exhibitions physically, also in the real world. So we had the possibility to meet the person in real, and that was very important. And we have to find the right balance because it could become a dangerous world if it's just in a virtual reality, in my opinion.
This is very interesting as we talk about, our connection via audio only around video. Some people connect via video, some people are only audio voices, some people, and they're hiding behind these masks and of PFPs, like an identity. What does that mean for, you talk about knowing the person, what does that mean, in this sense, as we, do we really know a person when we meet them in physical life versus just digital over a period of time? Or what does that mean to know a person? How does that interrelate with community building?
I think to hear the voice of a person is very important because also through the voice you can understand more about the person. You can, for example, you can meet this person more times in the spaces, listening to this person. So it's an important part that is better than not having any kind of interaction also with the voice. No, but of course, if you have the person in front of you, you can also understand more of the people. For example, we know as psychologists the importance of the non-verbal language, no? So how people is interacting to you, if he's watching at you, smiling, for example, no? So this part is also very important, creating an idea of the person that you have in front of you. So I'm not saying that it's not possible to know exactly the person just through the voice, because the voice is also an important part because but I think that is more complete to see the person in the real life, so you have an idea how this person is really interacting with the normal world. No, normal, of course, what is normal. So in this sense I prefer personally to interact with the person personally. What I don't like much now is to enter rooms where people are just having a PFP or similar. I prefer to see the face of the person because through the face, of course, you understand more of the person. But this is, of course, my background as psychologist, probably because of this.
Well, and as a photographer as well. I mean, my own background is in photography, so, and a bit in psychology. So I understand these things. I think there's something in the human face that is so beautiful. I'm so glad for the sense of sight in that way. And we can learn different things through different senses and to be connected together. And what does that mean? I think to delve a little bit more into community building as we talk about not just as a leader, but also as the interconnected relationships in a network of community.
I think to be also a community builder, you feel also some responsibility, in the sense you have to think what you are saying also, because you know that people are listening to you, so you could influence people in a certain way of, I hope, with what you are saying. So I think we play an important role, like you, in my opinion, because we can help people in some way. For example, I help a lot of people entering the NFT spaces, creating their career, giving them more visibility, creating new connection. But sometimes, honestly, to you, you also feel the responsibility that what you are saying can be correct, can be right, can be really be helpful. No, so as you say, to be leader, I use this word that you use, is sometimes a great responsibility that must be used with a lot of balance, and also I think in a positive way. No.
I think that's really important is to discuss what it means to be a leader and community builder in this space because we talk about so much decentralization, but leading community and curating is by its very nature, and human connection even is non-decentralized, unlike the technology. Maybe, perhaps the technology could be, depending on which one, technological stuff. But the human connection and leadership, however, is by its very nature not decentralized. How do you feel like that balance as a community leader can be understood, or have you started to understand it in a new way based on these new ideological factors of NFTs and decentralization?
Well, as you say, also in nature, we always find leaders. No, we just can think about the animals. No, in every animals community, we find a leader. No, I think in my concept of being a leader, if I can consider myself a leader, I have the idea that a leader is a person probably having a little bit some more skills because he's not so shy or can speak better, that can have the responsibility just to be a connector. So putting giving the person the possibility to create connections. So I think it's just a facilitator, a person that can help to other people to start something new. So I see the leader in this way, not a person that is saying what people must do, or I never give some suggestion. For example, no, this is not in my opinion the concept of a leader. A leader is a connector in the Web3 also. That could be related to being decentralized. That you are just a connector, a person that is helping other connecting, because sometimes our people cannot do that by themselves. So why not to help them? If we are more able to do that, let's do that. So it can be helpful for them. And I'm really happy if another person is becoming leader or is becoming very famous as artist, because so I contributed also to this little journey of these artists, for example. No? Is also part of our success if another person is becoming successful thanks to us.
I agree 100%. I think this idea of facilitator as leader, connector as leader, helping others um, become better leaders and connectors and facilitators themselves is success ourselves. Um, and as we go more into that, this idea of leadership, because I think there's many different ideas of leadership out there, but I think it's important to understand some of these different aspects, especially as we grapple with decentralization and what that means, or grapple with Web3 and what does that mean as curator, as facilitator. What are some aspects of facilitation that you've learned over time that you would like to pass on to those watching whenever now is that people are watching?
Well, my concept of facilitation is just to take out the skills that the people already are having inside themselves. So sometimes people are not able to recognize by themselves these skills. So for me to facilitate that in people as leader is exactly just to ask questions, for example, to a person, not to give answer. The importance also as a psychologist is what we are doing. We ask just questions. We don't give too many answers because people already know the answers, no, in themselves. Sometimes they must just think about them. No? And in this, I think that is similar also in being leader in a community, you know, or for example, in an NFT community, where you just try to take out the resources that people are already having. What they are missing sometimes is just the knowledge about the technology, for example. So the education we know is very important in this sense. No? But there are important things that I would say is I don't think it's possible to be totally decentralized. Is a bit little bit utopic because we know even if you are on a platform like OpenSea Foundation, you must give the power to the platform to help you in order to create the smart contracts. Because me, for example, I'm just an artist. I'm not much able to program or to do my own contracts. So I have to pay a platform doing that for me. In this sense, I'm conscious that I cannot be totally decentralized. But the important thing is to be decentralized, knowing that you cannot be totally decentralized, being conscious of that. That is the important part, in my opinion. But I don't think it's possible to be totally decentralized.
I think this is an important point of like understanding these ideological shifts that we're having and to understand kind of the balance, and within that we're also understanding, I feel like, our own humanity and the uh and kind of the limitations of humanity in some sort of way.
Oh yes, I think it's not easy to find a balance in this sense in a human being. I think human beings are very different in the personality, fortunately, but at the same time they are very similar. No, there are people that know to be guided in their life because they are not able to do or to take decisions alone, and there are people that prefer to be more autonomous to decide by themselves. No, it depends also from your personality, from your personal story, from your background. No, let's think just about how people react to the politics, for example. No, the mass. When I talk to the mass, very big group of people, they prefer to be guided. For example, no, they don't never take a risk. They don't never decide by themselves. I would love to think a future where people are more able to use their own brain and to think and to take their decision and their skills. But of course, we know we are human, and this is a cultural problem, in my opinion, because thanks to culture, thanks studying, thanks education, thanks knowledge, probably we will be more able to do that, no, in the future.
I'm curious what that looks like, because we're talking about here people being able to think and make decisions and kind of go against groupthink. It seems like, what is groupthink? How does it work? And what do you see? What would you like to see in the future as we build the culture of Web3 further?
It's a very difficult question. Uh, I think it's important for, I'm talking now about the artists, for example. No? I hope in the future the artists are really keep on creating what they really want to create and not just creating something because of the marketing and because they see, for example, that now people are more collecting the collectibles. So me as an artist, I'm a photographer. I will never do collectible just because the marketing is telling me that. I want to be uh, faithful to my own concept, to myself as an artist. And this is for me the way to be decentralized. Because if I start just creating something because the marketing is telling me to do that, in this sense, I'm not decentralized. So this is for me a good example connected to related to your question. No? I hope in the future people are starting to think different this way, believing in themselves and trying to create what they really want to create because they are faithful to their concept, their artistic concept, or not just because to their creativity, I can also say, and not because the marketing is telling them what to do. So in this sense, we will have to fight against the advertising. Advertising are bombarding us, so the people go just in the same direction. No? And it's not easy to fight against, for example, advertising. We know the power of that. Publicity, sorry, advertising.
I think this is very interesting, like to follow one's own heart in this and to find the beauty in one's own work and to follow one's own way. And I think this, for me, this very much relates to emotion and beauty and finding this inner sense of self is in this what we're talking about here uh, of following one's own way. Maybe you could share how you feel like uh, the beauty relates to this.
Or what is more beautiful to find the beauty in ourselves. It's difficult to find something more beautiful, no? But we must also be honest. It's not always easy to do that because we know that our life can be also difficult. So to find the beauty in ourselves, what is meaning? I think just to wake up in the morning, to watch you in the mirror, and to say, Stefano, what did you do in your life that was good, and what did you do that was not good? No, who are you? Are you an authentic person to the other, related to the other person, or not? No, so this is for me to find the real beauty in yourself, being honest to yourself, knowing that you have your some more positive parts and also more negative parts. No, so in this sense, you have to find the right balance inside yourself, finding your beauty in also in the most negative part of yourself, no? Because it's very honest to tell to yourself that we have parts that are where we could be better, in my opinion, no? So in this sense, it's very honest to yourself to find your beauty that is connected to more part of yourself. I hope I answer your question.
I think that's really interesting, the beauty in the parts of ourself that are good and not so good in that sort of way of I think that's to find the beauty in all different aspects of ourselves. I think that's a really interesting concept. And I think, this relates back to a little bit what we were talking about, how we're relating to the human across audio, visual, uh, physical, I these different ways of interrelating and seeing each other as maybe multi-dimensionally beautiful. That the art and self is multi-dimensional.
Oh, for sure, art is multidimensional. And I think we have sometimes to travel through these different dimensions of ourselves, no? So we have different parts of ourselves. We are human beings made of a body. We are a person that we are also made of energy. We are spiritual person. We are people that are related to nature. We are people related to other persons. So we have more parts of ourselves, and I think it's important to recognize all these parts, no? And sometimes it's also important to go more deeper in some of these parts that you more prefer. So, for example, I prefer to be more spiritual, so I'm meditating also. I'm trying to let this part of me that growing up, no? In this sense, we can be multidimensional, no? And important is to recognize these different parts that are living in us, and where we are living in, I would say also, no? It's very important to do that.
I'm very curious about this growing up and living in. It's very interesting to me as we communicate across these internet and see the people that were, for me, seeing so many people from Clubhouse grow over this amount of time, that we're not just static beings. I think, and I'm curious, as you've seen in your work in psychology, about identity and growing senses of identity through and what you see, growing senses of identity connected to Web3 and audio connections and connectivity.
For sure, internet, Web3, they could help the creation of an identity in a person and connected to another person. No? As we were saying before, is the use that we do related to Web3 and internet that should help this part if people are able to put themselves also into the game in a very and honest way, showing themselves and talking about themselves and showing the real part of them. But the risk, as we were saying, is that people are not doing that because they hide them behind the media, behind the internet, behind the Web3, no? So they just show a part that is not real because they feel more safe in this sense. They don't want to get out their comfort zone. No? This could be more dangerous, in my opinion. So I think we should educate, thanks to internet, thanks to this podcast, thanks to the spaces, thanks to the blockchain, to help people to become more authentic, in my opinion. Also the artists, what we are often saying into the spaces, try to be authentic in the spaces, because this helping also your art. Because if people know the story behind your art, because they understand more about you as person, is also more probably that you are going to sell your art, because the collector are connecting your person to the art. No, so it's very important in this sense to create an identity also on the media. I hope the use of the media in the future will help this, but at the moment, I think we have to work on that a little bit.
How can we work on this? What does that look like to you, and what should we, as everybody watching, what can they do to do what you're saying and connect authentically and inspire others? How can people engage and champion these ideas that we're talking about?
What I always suggest to people, even if I don't like to suggest things, is to be brave in your life sometimes. To be brave and to do something different that also could help your life. So for many people also, to be brave, to go into a room or a space or a podcast somewhere and to talk about yourself could be very helpful. So I suggest people to start doing that in a honest way without being ashamed, because we are all human. Nobody's perfect, and nobody is living without having also parts that are not so nice. So it's important for me that people are starting to do that. So what I say is, start to be brave. Give a signal to the society that you are authentic and that you are doing something also against the normal rules of life sometimes. No? For example, I worked as psychology for 17 years, and then I decided to split my job from one day to the other because I wanted to give also a sign to the society that it's also possible to follow your dreams. I feel also connected to the question that you made me before. To be a leader is also important in order to give some new ideas to the new generation. So in this sense, I also feel the responsibility. We should also give some messages to the new generation to be brave and sometimes to follow your dream. Because too many people are living their lives saying, oh, when I will retire, I will do what I want. But we know that first we have to be lucky to be healthy when we retire. Second, it's not said that you have, for example, enough money to do what you want when you retire. Or the life is not giving you the possibility to do that. So I decided to leave my job to live today and not tomorrow, because I don't want to live tomorrow, I want to live today, and I follow my dream of photography. So in this sense, we should educate people to be brave sometimes.
Wow. Wow. I think there's so much wisdom in that. As someone who's just picked up and traveled across the world and seen something new, I can say it's beautiful to be brave. And what does that mean as it relates to the art making process, to be brave to you? What have you seen? What would you like to see as brave?
The concept of brave is pretty connected to the world of art. I hope to see artists brave in the sense they are really expressing through their art what they really think. No, that would be really nice in my opinion, because sometimes, as I was saying before, many artists are just following too much the marketing, and they are not brave in this sense to create something different than our people do just because our people are selling, for example. No, so you have to be brave also in this sense. Maybe you will not sell at the beginning because you are doing something different that our people are not doing. But in the long run, probably it will pay because you are expressing yourself. Because we know if you are creating something that is not authentic, because you were not brave as artists, on the long run, probably you will disappear as artists. I saw so many projects connected to the space that they literally exploded in 1-2 days, but after some months they disappear completely. So if you want to be an artist, you should be also brave and to do something that is different. We know the most important artists of the story, they were the most famous, they were the one that did something different that nobody created. So in this sense, I think we should really start to be brave and to do something that could also be different.
Now, as we talk about art, we're not just talking about visual, are we? And we're not just talking about brave in the sense of used a new line weight this one time. What does it mean to you as a human being and also as an artist to be brave? What just delve in a little bit more into that sense of what it means.
But to be brave as human being, I see that more as living your life in an authentic way, also going sometimes out of your comfort zone or out of your roots, because we know that the roots we need roots in our life, of course, no, because everybody is having roots. But sometimes, as I'm expressing through my photography, roots could also create a cage around us because they are giving us some security. They make us feel safe about a particular life. But sometimes these exact roots don't allow me to jump out of my comfort zone and to experiment something new. No, for example, I'm thinking to many beautiful artists that are staying at home, creating their art, feeling safe at home, but they never go to physical exhibition because they can't, or they are scared to go there, and they prefer to stay at home because roots are giving them more security. Sometimes in my life, to be brave, it means also to experiment something different to what your own roots created, and to take some decision in your life, for example in love, that are brave. Sometimes people don't live the life that they really want to live with the person they love, because they prefer to stay with another person that they don't really love because it's more safe, for example, not because this person is taking care of the other person, for example. I think to be brave, in my opinion, as human being, means to be authentic, to really live the life that we would like to live. I'm not saying, of course, that is easy, because if it would be easy, everybody would be happy, rich. We are human beings, and that's why we need also psychologists. Also, psychologists are not perfect. And that we know that.
I love this as we're talking about being brave. It's so inspiring, I think, for so many out there to even consider one's own life as being brave, and to understand that the artist and the culture, to create a culture, to community that is brave, a community that, you know, that stands for something in this day, that is authentic. What does that look like, as if communities or people out there were to adopt a little bit more of that braveness, a little bit more of that experimentalness, a little bit more of, let me try and see what happens with that, try on this new identity, or take oneself out of those roots? What does that look like? What does that feel like?
Oh, I hope that in the future we will see more community where people are really connecting in authentic way, being themselves, no? And this means for me to be brave also in a community where people are start also trying to connect about more deeper things of life, or also of art, not just staying on the surface, no? I think we need community where we are going a little bit more deeper, no? And this is also a way to be brave, where people are able to be authentic, as I was saying, and going into deeper into themselves. So, and I think in this way, I hope that Web3 could help us to do that again, huh? And to create new communities, new spaces where people are starting to be more authentic. But I think we have to work on that. We should, as leader, community builder, we should help people to become more brave, no? And thanks to this podcast also, Aaron, that you are doing, this is also a way to educate people to be more authentic, I think, and to express themselves, and to help other people to get out of their roots, no? I think also the fact that you are sharing your roots, for example, as an artist, is a way to get out of your comfort zone and to let other people who you really are in the real life, no? Also, sometimes maybe you are a person that is not feeling good. So it's important. You can tell that to the people, while always to be fake and to say, oh, I'm doing well, if it's not true. No, this is also to be brave. To say, today I'm not feeling well. Why not? It's part of the human being. We cannot always just feeling bad. I, for example, don't like this room where all the people are just saying, "Oh, how beautiful is this?" No, it's not true. It's not really. It's not an authentic room. We know that it's not everything positive or just beautiful. Sometimes we have to know the truth also. So this is also for me to be brave in a community and to get out of your roots.
Wow. I think there's something, for me, as we continue to discuss beauty, is there's something very beautiful in that everything is not just sunshine and flowers, but there's so much beauty in the I'm not feeling well today because of this, and getting to something deeper, or bringing these conversations to a deeper level, that there's beauty in the mystery, there's beauty in the darkness, there's beauty in the bright sunshine. That where do you see beauty in the world, that you feel maybe right now the world could look a little bit more at, as those watch or think to themselves, where can I see beauty around me? Where are places to look? How do I start to understand and grapple with this beauty all around me?
But you were also a photographer, and do you know that photographers are developing a particular kind of eye that we call clinical eye in our language, no? Because you have the possibility to observe also the little details of life, of nature, of the world, no? I think sometimes we should become more able again to take a look of the details of our life, also the little details that could give us more happiness, thinking how life could be beautiful. No, this is one thing that we can learn again to do. I think we can find everywhere beauty. We just need to use other eyes to take a look again of what we have around. But Aaron, I think an important part is also to recognize that in the world we don't have so much beauty sometimes, like wars, people get killed, like war things that we know what we hear every day in the news, no? But this is also an important part, because just thanks to recognize the darkness, we can also appreciate the light, no? So thanks recognizing and to take a look of the opposite, we can also appreciate the light, the beauty, and what we have, what also we could potentially have. So we should start also to recognize the opposite. This is also an important concept that we know well from Feng Shui, from Yin Yang. Now, so I think is a concept that in philosophy was used a lot. No?
I think this is very important, that we're talking about, that when we talk about life, it's not like, oh, here's the concept of this one word, here's the thing that's going to solve it all. But there's a process to life, to growing, to being human, that it's more than just focus on this and all will be okay, but that in fact, connections, relationships, growing, and individuation is a process. Um, Maybe you could speak a little bit to the process of life and the process of art and the process of community.
The concept of process is a beautiful concept, in my opinion, because it's giving us the sense that we are becoming better day by day, you know? And how are we doing that? Thanks to our experiences. Today, we are the result of experiences that we did in our past, no? Because experiences are creating our story. Every one of us is having a story behind, no? That we are creating, that probably not just coming to world with the birth, but before, because we were in the belly of our mom, so, and our parents, so we were already in their minds before coming to world, no? So in this sense, we were living before coming to war, and we created this experience day by day. So it's important to consider experiences not good or bad. They are just experiences that we can change because we are in a process. The same thing is to be in a process and as an artist. We will probably never be complete as artists until our death, probably, no? Because also after, probably we will go ahead in the process, in the mind of, in the eyes of people observing our art when we are dead. No, we know that most of the artists in the past became famous after their death. No, but I think the concept of the process is beautiful because it's giving the idea that we can improve every day, we can learn from our experience, and we have every day the possibility to learn something new. So we don't have to take a look of the goal, but we have to take a look of our pathway. The journey is important, not what we are going to reach. No, we have to walk, and the journey is the most important part of the process, in my opinion, because we learn day by day from the process. And in the artistic way, it's fantastic because so we can create something new every day. In this sense, people are often asking me, why are you doing one by one pieces if you know as photographer that you are going to lose this file forever, probably, if you sell that? Because that is stimulating me to create a new one. If I sell this file, that maybe is the most beautiful file of picture I created in my life until now, I lose that. I lose in the sense that I sell that. Okay, so I'm stimulated to create a new one, a better one. So in this sense, we are in a process.
I think that's really interesting as we look at the artist and say, what inspires the process? Whether we talk about burning the piece of paper and it disappears, or selling the painting or the photograph or the digital file, in the case of the NFT, how it goes and we create a cycle, a journey for ourselves, that we in fact have the ability to inspire not only others' journeys, but our own journey as we take the next step, that we fall from step to step.
We as psychologists, we say it's not possible not to communicate, in the sense, even if you don't say anything, you communicate something to others. No? So as artists, it's not possible not to inspire other person, maybe just one, but it's already a person. No? It's not possible not to inspire someone. So we are, as you say, in an interaction between the artist, our creation, our inner part, and the outside part of us, and the spectator, the people that is taking a look of your artwork. So we are in a process that is made of different parts. No? But the first part is starting inside ourselves during the creation, because we are creating on the base of our history, of our concept, of our experience, as we are saying. And when we put out our creation into the world, we have to accept the responsibility that we are putting that in connection with our people. So with the so-called observer, no? And this is the most, I think, is a key part of the life of an artist, because many artists, they don't want to show their art because they are not brave enough in this sense, or they don't like to do that, no? Because they are scared about the reaction of the other part. But I think the process, a complete process, is including yourself, what are you creating, and the fact that you are putting this creation in connection with our person. So the process is becoming more complete, and you have also to be conscious that the other person can react differently to what you are creating. Maybe is understanding that also in a different way. So I find the idea of a process very interesting, in my opinion, because it's made of different parts.
Wow, I love this as we're wrapping up here. The process is made of different parts and includes the not only inside of ourselves and the process of creation, but also the observer. I think that's so beautiful to kind of come back to the sense of beauty of the not only the self, the art, but also of connecting with the observer. And so thank you for being with us today. I want to give you a chance here to tell us where to find you across all of your social media, Stefano. Because first, just tell us where to find you, because I want to make sure everybody goes and checks out what you're doing.
First of all, thanks for inviting me. I really love to speak about this concept also in a public way. So it was really interesting because you asked really very, very nice questions. And you can find me, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, in different on different platforms here on Instagram under Stefano Favaretto Official, or in Twitter, I'm Steph Favaretto, or on Clubhouse, Steph Favaretto. I always use my name and my family name, no? Or also on Discord, Stefano Favaretto. So you just Google Stefano Favaretto, you find me everywhere, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know.
Spell this out for us in case people have trouble with spellings.
Okay, I spell my name that normally people are saying Stefano, Stefano. This is Stefano in Italian. And my family name is Favaretto, 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 Stefano Favaretto.
Perfect. So, two last things. First, I just want to, before these two last things, I want to say thank you so much for joining.
Thanks to you.
And thank you to the audience. I know we're both very thankful to the audience for being here now and later and whenever now is. It's very important. And now I want to ask for the audience, just from your heart, what do you feel like needs to be heard in the world, just from your heart? What do people need to hear right now?
I use two words, not to be conventional, but one is hope and the second is light. We need light, we need hope, and as we said during this beautiful podcast also, we need beauty. That is important, I think.
And I just want to give you just a few last words, anything before you exit out, and I'll wrap up here. Just a few last words, anything you want to share right now.
I think we said enough today. I think we said many positive things. And the only thing that I would love to see is more authentic people in the room, to see that people are really starting believing in the possibility to create a better world, and to do everything possible to do that. Never give up creating beauty and helping the world to become a better place. And we know the power of art in this way. So even if you reach one person with your art, is okay. It's one person that can spread ahead to another person what learn from you. So let's keep doing that, spreading beauty, love, and everything possible to create a better world. Thanks to you and to people listening to us. Bye. Bye. Ciao.
You just click the X button. I'm here. Thank you so much for watching. We're here on the Aaron Jack Show. Thank you so much to Stefano Favaretto for being here with us today. Thank you to the audience. We've really learned a lot today. And thank you to Doing Good HQ. We're here almost every week on the Aaron Jack Show. And so with Doing Good HQ, you too, as the artist, can be the philanthropist, connecting the artist to the nonprofit, to the charity, tying it in with NFT. So just once again, I just want to say it was so beautiful to have Stefano here talking about emotion and beauty, the beauty of authenticity, of being a human being, the beauty as we just came to understanding ourselves, individuation, the process of living, the process of the artist, the process of finding beauty in the world, to see the details that are beautiful, of admitting to the world a little bit more and not being ashamed of who we are, that we're all humans, that we don't need to hide behind just our PFPs, that we are in fact a human being, an authentic human being, and we can be there with each other in community. And then we talked about the leadership, the connection, the connector, the facilitator. And I think this is just such an important thing to discuss as we discuss decentralization, as we discuss Web3, to really look at the role of the leader, of the facilitator, of the connector, and finding these parts inside of ourselves of being a better facilitator, of being a better connector, and helping others be better themselves, that we want to see others do well. And I think there's other aspects here that we talked about that are just so wonderful to looking at this beauty of the growing inside the self, of the growing together of the community, of being authentic and having these deeper connective conversations, of lifting each other up, of curating and showing each other off. So thank you. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for creating your art. Thank you for being part of the process, and to not only grow the self, but also the process of creating, and also being brave enough to put that out into the world, and knowing that others can shape and be part of that discussion and be part of this process of creation. So thank you so much to you, the audience, to Stefano Favaretto. Thank you so much to Doing Good HQ. I'm Aaron Jack with Aaron Jack Show, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Ciao.